Hi, I would like to share Central Finance Unit 2. Central Finance Unit 2 is having the architecture, data flow, and SAP Central Finance functions. Let's see the architecture. There are three systems in the architecture. One is the source system, another is the SLT, that is the SAP Landscape Transformation Server. The other is the target system. The first system, that is the source system, can be a ERP or non-ERP. The SLT second system helps in integrating the platform. It's an integration platform which reads and replicate the FICO documents. It replicates, that is the keyword here. The third system is the central finance, which is the target system, where the FICO documents are reposted. There are various nodes for each systems that we see in the other things. I'm not going to cover that here. Let's see. This is the flow. The documents are read in the SAP LT replication server and it given to the accounting interface where the business mapping happened, and if any error, it handled there and it get posted. Let's see the data flow architecture. Yeah, if you see here, first I'll show you the ERP route. Like this is the ERP source system and SLT and central finance. Next we see the non-ERP route. That non-SAP is the source system, then SLT and central finance. So SLT is having the engines like read engines, write engine, and mapping things. So SAP LT is reading from the source system. If any changes happen, if any data updated, and it triggers the database trigger, then it put in the SAP format and it reads here and it goes to the technical mapping. From there it writes to the central finance. This all is happening through RFC connection. Whereas if you see in case of non-SAP system, so there is no RFC connection. So we need some inbound staging table in SLT to extract and map the data into the staging table. The first step is the extraction mapping of the staging table. In staging table, then database trigger and logging table will have maintained in SLT. Then whatever the changes updated here, it get triggered and it goes to the SAP format. Then it's read here. If you see here in the ERP system, the read engine is reading the SAP format data from the source itself, whereas here in non-ERP environment, the SLT read engine reads the data from as a second step in SAP LT server itself. Rest of the thing is same with the technical mapping. Then after it's write the data in interface, inbound processing interface. Next we see the data flow. Data flow is common for both real-time and initial load data, and only for initial load of FICO, we can't able to use the SAP LT replication server. So for initial FICO load, it's different. For rest of the things, this is the flow, both for replication and ongoing replication and initial data. If you see here, the cost objects are updated in the table, it's called as persistence table AUFK, and all the FI data are updated in BKPF, and the CO data are CO internal transfers are captured in COBK and COEP. Similarly, COPA update are maintained in the CE4 tables. There are three main interfaces is there in the central finance. That is to replicate the FI, to replicate the CO interface, and to replicate the cost objects. These three implement interfaces are part of AAF, that is Application Interface Framework, which enables the monitoring and error handling of the replicated data. So it passes through various steps like preparation, mapping, adjustment, then it posts. Even we can have some baddie to enhance the logic of the postings. The last step of the cost object is standard functionality, create the cost object or posting to FICO documents. If you see here, central finance is created as a new object for central finance enablement in the source system, where all the data are. If you see here, the table AUFK is read from source to the target. Similarly, the table COBK and COEP is read from the table to the target, but FI is not getting, this table is not getting moved. Instead, all the data is replicated in this table for all the for each document. One document is created in CFIN ACC HD and header and CFIN ACC IT in the source system itself. So this will get activated once we updated the node. So this is the flow from AUFK. There is a initial and replication object configured in SAP LT replication server. Then the interface for FI and CO works almost the same way, ends with the journal entry posting, but whereas interface for cost object ends with the table updation AUFK. It updates after the mapping and any posting check, it updates. As I told, it's BOK table, it's CO internal transfers are taken, and from the CFIN ACC HD table, FICO is getting transferred. The same way. It's a prepare map and post on the. Next we see the data flow for central finance at initial. For FICO initial load, it's different. There is no SLT. That transfer is happening through RFC connections. See here, all the FICO data are updated in the CFinance integration. This is based on the configuration, which contain specific information about the relevant objects. It provides the function module to extract the FICO postings from what they are saying about this, right? The center finance registration component deployed in the source system provides function module to extract the FICO postings from the source system. This is based on the configuration which contains specific information about the relevant objects. For example, company code, fiscal year, and period. And from the once the data moved to the source system, it will landed into the extraction. It extracted to the respective table ACC HD, ACC IT. Then it posted. Then the initial load posting post to the accounting interface. From there, it's the route of posting. Let's see the MDM mapping in Center Finance. Once we activate the MDG activation, the repository is getting created. Then we have to update the key entries. And SAP provided the mapping tool for key entries where we can upload the mass key mappings, but there is no such tool in the value mapping. Key mapping for the identifiers like the master data, whereas value mapping is for the config related details like document type, tax code. Once the repository updated with these fields, when the central finance replication process is happening, the central finance reads the MDG mapping details for the postings. Let's see the cost object mapping framework. The main responsibility of this cost object replication is to create new cost object and generate cost object mapping. The two things here. One, it is creating the cost object using the standard function. Then it maps the cost object in the table with what is the source and what is the target's cost object. First, it checks whether any cost object mapping scenario is defined. That is like a cost object to be replicated. Example, mapping scenario from internal order to internal order. Then the cost object is passed through the mapping rule. If there is no matched mapping rule, it will give the error. If there is a matched mapping rule, you will apply the mapping rule, clear or derived from local characteristics, and apply the MDG mapping. The cost object and the cost assignment mapping. The cost object and the cost object assignment mapping of the cost object from the source to target will be created. The figure replication needs reach the cost object assignment to replace the cost object in the posting document. Yes.